It's so good to be here on Friday at the International Manufacturing Technology Show. We're here today to open up the show with a simple message of we are announcing a public brand name for the National Network for Manufacturing Innovation, and the name is simply Manufacturing USA. The other point of this talk is to explain what this public-private partnership is all about government working with industry and academia to solve industry-relevant problems, and to explain what these institutes are and why you, if you're not already involved, if your company is not already involved, why you might want to consider. This is the reason for this National Network for Manufacturing Innovation. The U.S. manufacturing sector, of course, was hard hit from 2000 to 2010. We lost a third of our manufacturing workforce. We closed 65,000 plants in this country, and it really got attention as to the importance of manufacturing. People got that manufacturing punches above its weight, that it's a huge impact on the economy and the jobs. The other thing that became apparent to policymakers in Washington, they started to talk much more about manufacturing, is that when you lose manufacturing, when you don't make it here, where does the next cycle of innovation come from? So if you are the ones producing that advanced material, the next innovation is most likely to happen where you're making it. So that was the focus of the PCAST, is if we're losing this, we continue to be the envy of the world in our universities, in our national labs, like the Department of Energy right over there, but we invent it here. But more and more, we saw over that decade that things that we invent here are being scaled up and de-risked elsewhere. The point about Manufacturing USA is we have these discoveries. How do we speed up from laboratory to something that you can use in your manufacturing plants, speed it up and de-risk it? So this is really to create a space, a neutral convening ground where industry and academia can work together. In my industry career, it was tough working with other companies and universities, especially working with a direct competitor. So what we need here is this neutral convening ground, and that's the role of the federal government, to create that space with all the rules that you can work. You can take this. If you are part of these institutes, you own that IP and you get it into your operation, and you take advantage of it. So this we worked with 5 public workshops, 1,200 experts from industry and academia. We published this. This is on the White House website or our website. And this cartoon simply shows that it's a space to come together for you to effectively work with academia, government at all layers, and especially large, medium, and small industries. The little orange box is really important because these aren't think tanks that write papers. These are think and do centers. They're user facilities. They are places with loading docks. And you can see this right over there, the manufacturing demonstration facility, and IACME, the Institute for Advanced Composites, making real things today. So for where we are today, this has been a new program, and it's an exciting program. We're moving quickly. Where we are today is we have 8 institutes. A 9th one is coming up. So you can see these across the country. Every one of these has a special mission. It's a public-private partnership focused on an industry-relevant challenge. And you can see in the lower left, we have 6 more on the way. So where we are is we will achieve the President's original vision of an initial network of 15 of these institutes with a goal of 45 of these institutes in 10 years. So that's all fine. What does it really mean to you? Well, the best way to do this is to explain here. If you go down the hall, this is the display. We have these 9 institutes with a mission. So the federal investment, this is every institute has to be at least 100% matched, with a co-investment. To date, the $600 million of federal investment has been matched by over $1.2 billion. It's over a 2-to-1 match for these centers. 8 active institutes. Over two-thirds of the Fortune 50 U.S. manufacturers are members of these institutes, even though we're so early. And so it's 8 out of the 10 top 10 manufacturing universities. They are involved. We have 1,300 members and rapidly growing, and they're doing real projects today to accelerate over 240 major technology development projects. The best way to explain this isn't to talk at the high level. It's to talk at the exciting level of let's explain how every institute works, common principles, but every one of them is focused on a particular big challenge. The best way to explain that is let's drill down into one of the institutes, and in this case, it's PowerAmerica. Every institute is sponsored by a federal agency, and in this case, it is sponsored by our good friends at the Department of Energy. So to explain this and introduce the director of PowerAmerica is my friend and colleague, Dr. Rob Ivester from the Department of Energy. Rob.
Thank you, Mike, and good morning, everybody. I'm delighted to be here and have the opportunity to introduce someone who I've come to know over the course of the last couple of years, working from the Department of Energy with NC State University on PowerAmerica. It brings me great pleasure to introduce to you this morning my favorite American soldier, Major General Nick Justice, who is the Executive Director of PowerAmerica.
Thank you, buddy. And you'll notice that Rob is all dressed in red, white, and blue just for the occasion. I think that's fantastic. Like Rob said, I'm Nick Justice, and I have the great privilege of being the executive director of one of the 9 national manufacturing institutes that is going to lead this revolution. My challenge, being in the Department of Energy, is really all about the modernization of the energy industry. If you look around this hall, all of the industries represented, all of the manufacturing segments in our country are all driven by power. And power needs to be revolutionized and modernized. The challenge that the Secretary of Energy has given the people of this country is to double the productivity of our energy. That is an incredible challenge by 2030. To do that, he's also said, and the current energy we produce needs to be more efficient and more clean. That shift in our energy sources and the volume of our energy is incredibly revolutionary, and it will drive the modernization across manufacturing. So my mission is to take new materials in the wide bandgap semiconductors and advance those processes, enable them to be put into the new solutions across all segments of manufacturing to make sure that power electronics is able to drive the modernization, this new industrial revolution that we all see ongoing. The value that we look to create, everyone in manufacturing will know exactly what they are. Drive the costs down for the devices in power electronics. Be able to shorten the time to market for what we're going to be able to deliver more efficient, more clean energy. Demonstrate the capabilities of the new materials that include things such as reduction in size for equivalent energy sources, reducing the weight that it takes to power solutions and systems that go into the marketplace, to be able to make them more cost effective. And then finally, a big job is to reinvigorate, re-educate, retrain the workforce that will be in industry being able to implement all of these great new solutions that come to the table. One such example is a Department of Energy program that is training solar-ready vets, taking the military veterans that are coming out of our armed forces every week and giving them skills to work in solar power and energy that is going to grow and grow across all segments of our industry. But we have to, as Mike said, we have to have an industry-led consortium. And so you can look at that map up there and you can see all across the country, we have partners both in academia and in industry that are helping to lead this. Many of them in the new renewable energy segment. Just around the university where I'm stationed, we have over 125 clean energy companies just in that very region. It's a perfect example. But you'll also look that we're also looking at in-state major in-product companies, you know, in the middle of the country. We've got foundries that are working to be able to produce the devices we have. Our priorities, very simply, is to drive those costs down like I've already talked about and get better yield, better production of what we're doing. The impact I have to achieve is to empower the strategy the Department of Energy has put out in their quadrennial energy review, empower it with the technologies that will allow us to achieve those incredible goals we've set for ourselves by 2030. How do we do that? We're working across all levels of the supply chain. We've actually put an open foundry. We've converted it from a 6-inch foundry. We've got it up and running, and they're taking orders from device companies. We've got those device designers. Some little small companies are 6 or 7 people that are designing. We're building that infrastructure to allow them to go and have a foundry where they can produce these designs and build new products. We're working on new packaging that allows us to take advantage of the higher temperatures, the smaller size, the stronger power that's coming out of these things. We've got companies like John Deere. You say, what is an agricultural-focused company like John Deere doing with power electronics? The amount of energy that goes into food production in agriculture is astronomical in concept. If you can save energy in that heavy farm equipment, in that construction equipment that they build, you will save great amounts of cost in producing the increased number of food products that we need in a growing population in the world. We've got education and workforce, and I'd mentioned the solar-ready vets, but we also are working with everything from school children to teach them. You've seen around you all these young people today looking at the modernization. We're really building a future for tomorrow's generation and for our children. That's what we're all here about. I'm going to turn this back over to Mike, but to tell you how true that is, all you have to do is face the Wall Street Journal and look at what they produced on Wednesday. Innovations in energy to power manufacturing. Mike, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Well, Rob Ivester, Nick Justice, and I will be right here to answer any questions. If you'd like to learn more, our website is simply manufacturingusa.com. It's a .com because it's a public-private partnership that's led by industry.